Hello and welcome into another soap making video. Today we're going to deal with some issues that come up sometimes when you're making soap. We're going to be making sunflower soap today. It's a new fragrance that I haven't used before. It is Sunflowers by Crafter's Choice. Mixing in my lye solution to my pre-melted butters and oils. I am soaping a little bit hotter than normal. I'm hoping that the fragrance behaves and that we won't have any problems. But as you will see later, there were some problems that we're going to have to deal with. I'm using my standard recipe for my oils and butters. I do use kaolin clay and colloidal oats in my batter. Going to mix off some of my accent colors. I'm going to do a base of Lime Green by Nurture Soap. So far the batter is behaving. At this point, I think I should have mixed the fragrance in a little sooner and mixed it all at once with the color, hindsight being that the fragrance does accelerate pretty rapidly. I also probably should have not used the blender here and just hand mixed. As you could tell, it's already very thick. I'm going to try to quickly get that into the mold. I think the combination of the oils being very warm and the lye solution being cooler than the oils gave me some problems. But I'm going to go ahead and tap in this base layer of the lime green and try to work as quickly as I can to get the rest of the batter done. Next, I'm going to do my main color, which is Yellow Vibrance, I believe, by Nurture Soap. And as you can tell, the batter's already becoming very thick. And I haven't even put the fragrance in this batter yet. Again, I should have probably mixed in the color and the fragrance at the same time to reduce the stir time. The batter here is thick, but it hasn't separated, riced, or accelerated that much. I believe that the amount of acceleration I had, again, was just from the temperature of the oils. I'm doing a mixture in the pot mixture. It was going to be a swirl, but as you'll see, it didn't quite work out that way. Mixing the fragrance in with the brown. I believe this is a Mocha Brown by Nurture Soap. And again, this is also very thick. Here is where one of the main problems came in. As soon as I mixed in the fragrance with the batter that was already colored yellow, it did start ricing and was getting very thick. Sometimes if you stick blend, it will break up the ricing and sometimes even loosen the batter. I was hoping that this was the case, but that just wasn't going to work. So instead of doing an in the pot swirl, I just kind of globbed in the brown and tried to make the best of it. There wasn't much ricing left at this time, so the stick blending did help with the ricing, but the acceleration was still very intense. At this point, I wasn't sure if it was going to actually come out or not. There was no way this is going to pour, so I had to spoon it in. And just keeping my fingers crossed that this could be salvaged. I will say the fragrance is very nice. Nice fresh floral with some woodsy undertones. I'm just going to scoop all of the batter into the mold. This mold that I have, I had made for me by a local carpenter. I took him over some of my brambleberry molds and asked him if he could recreate them. He did make them a bit smaller, so I do get the bowing in of the silicone molds. It's a little harder to scoop without making a mess. Tried to tap down the batter as much as I could just to avoid any air pockets. I did tamp down the mold on the ground, trying to get all the batter down as much as I could. There isn't really any problem functionally with having air bubbles, but it just leaves little air holes in your soap. It doesn't look as pretty. I made these embeds the day before. They're melt and pour embeds, and just put those on the top. The green squiggles I put on before. I didn't film that. It was like pushing concrete through the piping tip, so it was a little bit tricky. Also, with this mold being a little small, I can't let it slip through the bottom because it won't ever come out, so I have to push it out the top. I try not to use these molds or these boxes very often just because they're so frustrating. So let's see how it unmolds very easily. This is the next day, 24 hours later, I was able to go ahead and cut. And it's not so bad. It's not the exact swirl that I wanted, but I will deal with it. The fragrance is nice, the texture is nice, and it does give a really good lather. Just lessons learned to make sure that your oils and your lye are about the same temperature, and trying not to be impatient and try to soak before the oils cool off as much as they should. All in all, not a fail. I was able to save the batch, and they were actually very popular when I first put them out at the market to sell. I do have a few left on my website if anyone is interested, rawbathandbeauty.com. Just want to thank everyone who likes and subscribes. And again, if you guys have any suggestions on anything that you want me to make, any different fragrances, colors, designs that you want me to try, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for joining me today. I'll show you a top view of the soap after it was cut.